I'm Nicole, and I'm presenting a research analysis for Sociology 100. The article that I'm going to analyze is called Does Media Type Matter? The Role of Identification in Adolescent Girls' Media Consumption and the Impact of Different Thin Ideal Media on Body Image. This is by Bell and Dittmar, and it appears in the April 2011 issue of the Sex Roles Journal. The researchers wanted to know if the type of media that adolescent girls see affects their satisfaction with their body. They were also interested in how the girls identified with the media models and how the identification with them affected their satisfaction with their bodies. The independent variables in this case are the type of media consumed and the amount to which girls identify with the media models. And the dependent variable is their body dissatisfaction. Researchers believed that adolescent girls exposed to images of thin ideals will report increased body dissatisfaction, and exposure to thin models and media types typically consumed will cause more body dissatisfaction than just still images. And girls who identify more strongly with the media models will show an increase in dissatisfaction with their bodies. To test the hypothesis, researchers first used a media consumption survey to determine the types of media adolescent girls are most likely to consume and how much of it they will consume. For this survey, they surveyed 199 adolescent girls that were predominantly white between the ages of 14 and 16. These girls were from an all-girls school in the southeast of England. After determining the common media types to be music videos, still images, and magazines, these media types were used in an experiment that tested 144 of these girls by exposing them to common pictures of the ideal body image for the same amount of time across these media types. After the exposure, the girls were given a questionnaire to take post-exposure measurements. Results showed the exposure to the thin ideal and type of media, still images, or regular media were not supported to show an increase in body dissatisfaction. However, how strongly girls identified with the media models was supported. Girls who did not identify with the media models were unaffected by the thin ideal media exposure. Researchers should inform subjects that they are being studied. This article does not state that subjects had to sign a consent form. However, the questions asked were done in individual questionnaire form, and exposure was done using familiar media types, so none of the adolescents were harmed. Psychologists will focus on endogenous factors, which are forces working within the subject. They would be intrigued by the fact that dissatisfaction with body image comes from how people think of themselves and identify themselves to media models. Sociologists, however, would focus on exogenous factors and argue that the reason girls identify with media models the way they do is due to previous exposure to similar images and what society tells them is the norm for how they should want to look, which is similar to the media models. To understand more about the effects of the media body ideal, I located another article. I chose Body Dissatisfaction in Adolescent Boys and Girls Objectified by Body Consciousness, Internalization of Media Body Ideal, and Perceived Pressure from the Media. This is by Noss, Paxton, and Alsaker, and it appears in the June 2008 issue of the Sex Roles Journal. Results of this study showed support for girls having higher objectified body consciousness than boys because girls internalized the media more and perceived more media pressure and reported a higher weight dissatisfaction. It was also found that objectified body consciousness explained a large portion of variance in body dissatisfaction. Finally, the hypothesis that gender differences would disappear was disproven when the relationship between body surveillance and body dissatisfaction was fully mediated in girls and partially mediated in boys. Taken together, these two studies show that when adolescents, specifically girls, have a high body consciousness and identify closely to media models, and the media perception of an ideal image in society can cause significantly high body dissatisfaction in these girls.